when nature decides to remind us who is really in charge, it doesn't ask for permission. It does it loudly, suddenly, and indiscriminately. It sweeps away cities, erases borders, and turns our familiar world into ruins. It doesn't care if we're ready. It doesn't distinguish between the past and the present. It just takes, and all we are left to do is count the losses. Today's iceberg is ranked not by mystery or fame, but by the death toll. The deeper we go, the scarier the numbers get. Level 1, 0 to 100 victims. The Fort McMurray wildfire, 2016. On May 1, 2016, a fire broke out southwest of Fort McMurray in Alberta, Canada. It grew so fierce it was nicknamed the Beast. By May 3rd, the flames reached the city, forcing over 88,000 people to flee, the largest evacuation in the province's history. While the fire destroyed 2,400 homes and caused nearly 10 billion Canadian dollars in damage, miraculously, there were no direct deaths from the flames, though 2 people tragically lost their lives in a traffic accident during the evacuation. It took 15 months to fully extinguish. Hunga Tonga eruption, 2022. January 14, 2022. Deep in the Pacific, an underwater volcano exploded with such force it was heard in Alaska, 6,000 miles away. The eruption of Hunga Tonga sent an ash column 12 miles high and triggered a global tsunami. The shock wave circled the Earth twice. It was a 15-megaton explosion, 1,000 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Yet, thanks to the remote location, the official death toll was incredibly low, just 3 people. NYC blackout, 1977, July 13, 1977. A lightning strike hit a substation, and New York City went dark. By 9:30 p.m., 9 million people lost power. But unlike the blackout of 65, where people helped each other, 77 brought chaos. Looting and arson swept the city. Over 1,600 stores were robbed, and over 1,000 fires were set. Culturally, it was a pivotal moment. Legend has it that the looting of audio equipment in the Bronx helped kickstart the hip-hop movement. Power wasn't restored until the next evening. Grand Island tornadoes, 1980, known as the Night of the Twisters. On June 3rd, the city of Grand Island, Nebraska, was hit by a bizarre series of 7 tornadoes in less than 3 hours. 3 of them spun clockwise, an extremely rare occurrence in the Northern Hemisphere. It killed 6 people and inspired a book and movie of the same name. Challenger disaster, 1986, January 28, 1986. The world watched live as the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart 73 seconds into its flight. All 7 crew members, including Krista McAuliffe, who was set to be the first teacher in space, were lost. The cause was a failure of O-ring seals due to unusually cold weather that morning. It grounded the shuttle program for nearly 3 years and changed NASA forever. El Reno tornado, 2013. On May 31, 2013, near El Reno, Oklahoma, a tornado formed that defied logic. It became the widest tornado ever recorded, 2.6 miles across, with wind speeds over 300 millimeters. It was erratic and deadly, claiming the lives of legendary storm chasers Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and Carl Jung. It was a stark reminder that even the experts are at the mercy of nature. Deepwater Horizon, 2010. April 20th, 2010. An explosion on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico killed 11 workers and triggered the worst marine oil spill in history. For 87 days, oil gushed into the ocean, releasing nearly 5 million barrels. The environmental damage was catastrophic. BP eventually agreed to pay over $20 billion in penalties. Hurricane Patricia, 2015. In October 2015, Hurricane Patricia shocked meteorologists. In just 24 hours, it grew into a Category 5 monster with winds reaching 215 mm, the strongest ever recorded in the Western Hemisphere. It slammed into Mexico, but miraculously, because it hit a sparsely populated area, the death toll was limited to 13 people. Southern California wildfires 2025. In January 2025, Southern California faced one of its worst fire seasons. Driven by extreme Santa Ana winds, fires swept through Los Angeles, Malibu, and Pasadena. It claimed 29 lives and caused over $250 billion in damages. Even celebrities weren't spared, with many losing their homes. It highlighted the dangerous combination of drought and infrastructure vulnerability. Hurricane Charley, 2004. This storm was supposed to hit Tampa. Instead, it took a sharp right turn and slammed into Punta Gorda as a Category 4 hurricane. The sudden shift caught residents off guard. It destroyed thousands of homes and claimed 15 lives directly, causing $16 billion in damage. Oso landslide, 2014, March 22, 2014. Washington State. A water-saturated hillside collapsed, sending a massive mud flow over a rural neighborhood in Oso. It happened in seconds. The slide killed 43 people, burying homes in Highway 530. It remains the deadliest landslide in U.S. history, not triggered by a volcano or earthquake. Camp Fire, 2018. The deadliest wildfire in California history. On November 8, 2018, a faulty electric transmission line sparked a fire that virtually erased the town of Paradise. 85 people died, many trapped in their cars trying to escape. It destroyed nearly 19,000 buildings. Level 2, 100 to 1,000 victims. The Great Alaskan Earthquake, 1964. Good Friday, 1964. A magnitude 9.2 earthquake, the second largest ever recorded, shook Alaska for 4.5 minutes. In Anchorage, the ground turned to liquid, but the real killer was the water. Tsunamis wiped out coastal villages like Chenega and destroyed the port of Valdez. 131 people died, mostly from the waves that traveled as far as California. The super outbreak, 1974. Before 2011, this was the benchmark for tornado disasters. In 24 hours, 148 tornadoes touched down across 13 states. The town of Xenia, Ohio, was leveled by an F5 monster. Over 300 people lost their lives that day. The Great Chicago Fire, 1871 legend says Mrs. O'Leary's cow started it, but that was just a story made up by the press. What is true is that from October 8th to 10th, fire consumed Chicago. 17,000 buildings were destroyed, 100,000 people were left homeless, and about 300 died. But from the ashes, modern architecture was born. Chicago rebuilt itself with steel, giving rise to the skyscraper. 2011, super outbreak. April 2011 saw the deadliest tornado day in the U.S. since the 1920s. On April 27th alone, over 200 tornadoes touched down, including multiple EF5s that wiped towns like Hackleburg, Alabama, and Smithville, Mississippi, off the map. 316 people died in a single day. The Great Hinckley Fire, 1894. A forest fire in Minnesota created a firestorm with flames 200 feet high. It destroyed 6 towns, including Hinckley. Over 400 people died. The only reason anyone survived was thanks to heroic train crews who evacuated people through the flames. Tenerife Airport Disaster, 1977. The deadliest accident in aviation history. 2 Boeing 747s, one KLM, one Pan Am, collided on a foggy runway in the Canary Islands. A terrorist bomb at a nearby airport had diverted flights to the small Tenerife airport, causing overcrowding. A mix of fog, radio interference, and impatience led the KLM pilot to take off without clearance. 583 people died. The Great Flood of 1913. A massive storm system stalled over the Midwest, dumping rain on frozen ground. Rivers in Ohio and Indiana swelled to historic levels. Dayton, Ohio, was underwater. Levees broke, and gas lines exploded. Over 650 people died, leading to the creation of modern flood control systems. Hurricane Matthew, 2016, a Category 5 storm that devastated Haiti, killing over 500 people and leaving millions in need. It then hugged the U.S. coast, causing massive flooding in the Carolinas. In total, 731 people lost their lives. Rio de Janeiro mudslides, 2011. In January 2011, catastrophic rains in Brazil's mountainous region caused massive landslides. Towns were buried in mud. Over 900 people died in what became one of Brazil's worst natural disasters. Level 3, 1,000 to 10,000 victims. Kursha 2 fire, 1936. A tragedy kept secret for decades. In the Soviet Union, a forest fire threatened the settlement of Kursha 2. A train was sent to evacuate people, but the dispatcher ordered empty logs to be loaded first to save the state property. By the time the people were loaded, the bridge ahead had burned down. The train was trapped. Approx 1,200 people died. The Titanic, 1912. The unsinkable ship that hit an iceberg. We know the story, but the numbers are still haunting. Out of over 2,200 people on board, only 712 survived. It wasn't just the ice. It was the lack of lifeboats and outdated regulations written in blood. Hurricane Katrina, 2005. It wasn't just the storm. It was the infrastructure failure. When Katrina hit, the levees in New Orleans failed. 80% of the city went underwater. The delayed response and chaos led to over 1,800 deaths, making it one of the darkest chapters in modern American history. Johnstown flood, 1889. A private dam owned by a wealthy hunting club failed after heavy rains. 20 million tons of water smashed into Johnstown, Pennsylvania. The debris pile at the stone bridge caught fire, burning those trapped in the wreckage. 2,109 people died. San Francisco earthquake, 1906. The quake broke the city, but the fire destroyed it. Gas lines ruptured, and with no water pressure, the city burned for 4 days. While early reports said 700 died, modern estimates put the toll over 3,000. Iran blizzard, 1972, the deadliest blizzard in history. In February 1972, Iran was hit by a storm that dropped up to 26 feet of snow. Entire villages were completely buried with no survivors. Over 4,000 people froze to death. Vesuvius eruption, 1631. Not the famous Pompeii eruption, but a later one that was nearly as deadly. In December 1631, Vesuvius blew its top, sending lava and boiling mud towards the coast. It killed between 3,000 and 6,000 people and changed the volcano's shape forever. Hurricane Fifi, 1974. A storm that struck Honduras. The winds weren't the main killer, it was the rain. Flooding and landslides wiped out towns. Up to 10,000 people lost their lives. The Galveston hurricane, 1900. The deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. A Category 4 hurricane hit the island city of Galveston, Texas. There was no seawall, and the highest point was only a few feet above sea level. The storm surge swallowed the island. Between 6,000 and 12,000 people died. The Great Smog of London, 1952. In December 1952, a toxic mix of coal smoke and fog settled over London. It was so thick you couldn't see your feet. It lasted 5 days. While initial reports said 4,000 died, later studies suggest the smog killed up to 12,000 people, leading to the Clean Air Act. That's all for today's iceberg. There are deeper levels with even more terrifying numbers that we can cover in Part 2. If you want to see that, hit the like button. Let's aim for 10,000 likes. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.